Hello everyone and welcome to the My Greek Island podcast, Bitesize Greek series edition with your teachers George Zunias
and Maria Petrakou. Γεια σου Γιώργο.
Γεια σου Maria.
As you heard, I'm no longer calling him George, but Giorgo, which is the Greek version of his name, and I will do that in every Bite-Size Greek episode. So, Giorgo, what are we learning about today?
So, in today's mini episode, we are building upon what we did last time and looking at exploring ways of introducing ourselves, saying our age and where we are from.
Amazing. And I mean, we have received a few questions from our listeners about greeting people the first time. And if you have been to Greece, you probably know that the Greeks are quite famous for their hospitality. So expect a warm welcome. But generally speaking, when you meet someone for the first time, there's a tendency to shake hands. But in Greece, if you meet someone for the second time, do not be alarmed if you get a bit of a hug and a kiss. I know it's a bit #awkward for some of us, but there's a bit of hugging once you get to know someone and a bit of like cross-cheek kissing. Right,
yeah,
George?
That's me. The bit of the awkwardness and was like, what do you do? Anyway, enough about the awkwardness. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at My Greek Island, where we will be posting episode recaps so you can save our posts and also have them in your back pocket. Isn't that clever?
So clever, George. So clever.
So without further ado, πάμε!
Πάμε, Giorgo. Hello and welcome to another episode of the My Greek Island podcast, dedicated to take you, the wanderlust, on a journey through Greece.
There are 227 inhabited Greek islands. Which one will you visit next?
My Greek Island, with your hosts George and Maria.
Now, learning a new language can be very daunting, take courage, and lots of time. It can also be very demotivating when you don't seem to make progress. This series is all about providing you with the instant language to use, get a reaction, and hopefully learn a thing or two that will stick. And, who knows, you might even be inspired to start learning Greek properly.
And I mean, let's face it, when you go on holiday, you just want those few words, phrases, and a bit of slang, and you'll be happy to go, ready to go, right?
Yeah, I would be happy. So, in Bite-Size Greek 1, we did some basic hellos and a little bit about introducing ourselves. So, care to remind us, Maria, how we said hello?
Sure. So we said γεια σου, which is the informal, γεια σας, which is the formal, and χαίρετε, which can be used in either occasion. So that's γεια σου, γεια σας, and χαίρετε.
Excellent. And depending on the time of day, you might want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good night. So we had kalimera, kalispera, kalinihta. That was kalimera, kalispera, and kalinihta.
And then we also added how to ask someone how they are. So once again, the informal was τι κάνεις, the formal was τι κάνετε. And then we also added two slang-ish phrases, which were τι γίνεται and τι λέει. So that's τι κάνεις, τι κάνετε, τι γίνεται, and τι λέει.
Exactly. And to find out how to answer those, you have to listen to the previous episode. Now, today we're building upon this to introduce our name, ages, and where we're from. So, the question for our name is usually πώς σε λένε, to which the answer could be...
Well, one way of answering it is, which we touched on the first episode, is με λένε. So that for Maria, it would be με λένε Maria. So that's με λένε Maria. And one more time, Με λένε Μαρία.
And you could also say ονομάζομαι, which also means my name is, ονομάζομαι Γιώργο. Ονομάζομαι Γιώργο. And a third time, ονομάζομαι Γιώργο.
Amazing. Or let's bring a third one into the mix.
Ooh.
A third way to say what your name is literally the translation of my name is. So that would be το όνομά μου είναι Μαρία. So that's το όνομά μου είναι Μαρία. And one more time. Το όνομά μου είναι Μαρία.
And then we do have a fourth way of saying and introducing yourself with your name. And this is going to be using a key verb that you will need forever when you're learning Greek. And the verb that you need is to be. So in this case, I am. So we're going to learn how to say I am and then followed by a name. Now, in this particular example, we will need to use masculine or feminine pronoun depending as to how we identify to introduce ourselves. So I will do myself first and then Maria will do herself. So, είμαι ο Γιώργος. Είμαι ο Γιώργος. Final one, I am George, is είμαι ο Γιώργος.
And for me, it would be είμαι η Μαρία. Είμαι η Μαρία. And lastly, είμαι η Μαρία.
And for the purposes of inclusivity, if you do not identify either masculine or feminine, we would encourage you to use either of the three above ways of introducing your name. Therefore, you don't have to use the pronoun.
Very smart, George.
Yeah, I just thought of that on the spot. I was like, yeah, I need to say that.
No, that's a very good point, a very valid point, because the Greek language does have a gender assigned to many ways of figure of speech. So the first three ways that we have provided are definitely gender neutral ways of introducing yourself. So should we talk about age now? And I think for the purposes of this example, let's just go with the number 25. So we're all going to be 25 today, guys.
Yeah, all young and fresh. And I mean, sometimes not everyone wants to share their age, but when you're learning a language, it's one of the first things you learn after hello and my name is your age. And we will be giving a cheat sheet on our Instagram page at My Greek Island, so you can choose your age and be able to say it. So we're going to give you the verb that we just learned, so I am, followed by a number and then the age. So the example is I am 25 years old. So είμαι 25 χρονών. I am 25 years old.
Είμαι 25 χρονών.
And a third time, είμαι 25 χρονών. Pretty easy, right?
Yep, pretty easy. And finally for today, I think let's since we're building on the word I am, we're going to also add the question, where are you from? So you can say I am from XYZ. But here we just want to caveat that please, of course, respond to this question the way that feels more comfortable for you. If you want to say where you've come from or where your heritage is from, I mean, clearly you're on holiday, so people are just going to be interested where you have come from. So feel free to answer that question as you feel more comfortable.
Amazing. So if you recall a moment ago, we had the verb for I am, which is είμαι, and the question could actually be από πού είσαι, where are you from in the informal, or από πού είστε, which is formal but also plural if there's more than one person. So we're going to stick with the informal just for now. So από πού είσαι, and then we're going to give you some countries, aren't we, Maria?
Yeah. So once again, we're going to give, I guess we're just going to give a sample of countries, aren't we, George? How have you chosen to select these countries?
Well, the sample of countries we are using is quite small, but it's the top countries of listeners worldwide. So that's how we selected the countries. Now, if your country does not feature, it means that not enough people in your country were listening to our podcast. So you need to get your friends, family, your dog, your cat to listen to us. So maybe we can feature your country in the future when it comes up.
Get the dog to listen to the podcast.
Yes, dogs are the best listeners because they don't
Aw.
answer back. We love dogs.
We do love dogs.
So the question could be από πού είσαι, where are you from in the informal, and the answer. Now, when we're giving the answer where we're from, we're going to say I am from. And as we alluded to at the start, with the name and the gender, in Greek there are three genders, so masculine, feminine, and neuter. And we're going to take a selection of countries from each of the three genders to give to you. So the first one in masculine, είμαι από τον Καναδά, I am from Canada. So, είμαι από τον Καναδά, I am from Canada, είμαι από τον Καναδά. Then,
Amazing. So, should we choose a from the feminine category?
yeah, how about the UK?
Amazing. So, I'm going to say England though, because it's going to be difficult
yeah.
to say the UK. So,
Yeah.
you would say είμαι από την Αγγλία. So that's είμαι από την Αγγλία. And one more time, είμαι από την Αγγλία.
Amazing. And most of the countries are actually feminine on the list. There are some that are obviously masculine and neuter, but most are feminine. And then another country that featured very heavily is listeners from America. So shout out to you. I am from America would be είμαι από την Αμερική. Είμαι από την Αμερική. And a third time, είμαι από την Αμερική. And then we're going to look at the final one, which is from neuter, and that will be I am from Mexico. So Maria, as you love Mexico,
Oh my God, I do.
take it away.
And so happy that we have listeners from Mexico. So that would be είμαι από το Μεξικό. Είμαι από το Μεξικό. And one more time, είμαι από το Μεξικό.
Amazing. And as we go in for a quick recap of what we have learnt today, both Maria and I will individually introduce ourselves using all the vocab we have learnt today. So who's going first? Is it you or I?
I'm happy to go first, and we'll
Off
just
you
say
go.
for the purposes of this example, we're both going to be 25 years old, and let's say that I'm from Mexico and you're from. Where are you
I'm
gonna
gonna be from England and also Greece because we haven't talked about Greece, and I mean you might not need it, but
Okay, so I'll be from Mexico and Cyprus.
okay, perfect. Because some of you listening might have heritage or roots in Greece and want to learn that. So Maria, off you go.
Amazing. So, ονομάζομαι Μαρία. Είμαι 25 χρονών. Είμαι από το Μεξικό και την Κύπρο.
Amazing. And for the last one, introducing myself, I'm going to do it all in one go without repeating myself to see how much progress you have made from just listening to this one short episode. So, here we go. Με λένε Γιώργο. Είμαι 25 χρονών. Είμαι από την Αγγλία και την Ελλάδα, which is Greece. Είμαι από την Αγγλία και την Ελλάδα. And your key vocab for today, if you haven't already realized, is the verb I am, which is είμαι, and I challenge my Greek island visitors and Maria to find a new adjective in Greece that you could describe yourself by doing a bit of Googling. Maria, there must be a Greek adjective you don't know, so I'm going to challenge you as well.
Okay. Oh, God. That's homework for me. And if you do Google and find some adjectives, please do send us a DM. We love to hear from you. Okay. Right. My Greek Islanders. I think this comes to the end of this bite-sized Learning Greek episode. So, Yorgo, what is next?
So stay tuned. As Bite-Size Greek episode 3, we'll be building upon what we've learnt today, but we're actually looking at Greek essentials for when you are in Greece. So saying things such as yes, no, can I have some help? Can I have this? Can I have that? So until the next episode, make sure you follow us at My Greek Island on Instagram and send us your bite-sized Greek learning requests. Gya σας!
Gya σας.
Right, my Greek Islanders,
This comes to the end of another episode of this podcast.
Now you know the drill. If you like this episode, share it to share the love with the My Greek Island community, where everyone is welcome. And
don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And maybe give us a little rating from wherever you're listening to us from, so you are notified every time a new episode drops. And if you have any suggestions or requests, get in touch.
And for those of you visiting Greece, don't forget to tag @MyGreekIsland on Instagram for a future feature. Until then, see you later, or as they say in Greek,
Ta leme.